Hello, I'm Claudia from EducationUSA in Chile.
I'm Átila from EducationUSA at PUC Rio de Janeiro.
And today we're going to talk about writing the essay. So to get started, I wanted to let you know that first I'm going to refer to what is a personal essay, then it's steps to essay writing, brainstorming, why, preparing an outline, and then writing your first draft. So why a personal essay? So the personal essay is the key component for your application to the university in the US. This is basically the part where you really manage what you're going to do and how you present yourself to the university. This is to show the university who you are. So here are some tips for you. And it also demonstrates your English skills. Now, the most common platform that universities use for students to apply is the Common Application. So this year they have 7 prompts. The last one, and you have to choose one. And the last one is basically if you don't feel reflected really, doesn't really reflect who you are, any of the other 6, you can choose the 7 and write about anything that you have already written, and you just choose and prefer to show that and upload that to the Common Application that you have. Other prompts are, for example, from the University of from MIT. This is just an example where you have several prompts. You don't need to, and you have to choose one. You actually have to talk about all of them, right? And they're shorter. They're not 650 words as the one in the Common Application, but they're specific prompts asking you specific things about yourself and what appeals you, in this case, to MIT. Okay, so first of all, we recommend you to do some brainstorming. So the generation of ideas, right? And then you can begin working on an outline to organize your ideas and then work on your first draft. Now, if you are not sure what to write about, there's several exercises that we can recommend you to do. Many of them will be more insightful ones that basically will make you think about your achievements, what you have learned so far in life, what you want to learn at the university, what you've done so far in and outside school. Now, the first draft, right, can be about one idea. I do recommend to actually work on a couple of ideas, because part of those texts, those ideas that you work on, can be used as answers to specific questions from another university and not specifically used for the general Common Application. Now you have a first draft, but that's not only the first one. You can do a second, a third, a fourth. You can work on 10 different drafts before actually, deciding that you have reached your best option and your best essay to send to the university. All right, and then the brainstorming. So think about what aspects of yourself you want to highlight. You can include drawings, not on the essay, but when you're brainstorming. So all ideas are valid. They're not ideas that could be at this point stronger than others. Then when you think about it and you decide when you're working on an outline, maybe with the help of your advisor as well, you can choose which one would be the strongest one. And find the perfect spot to just, dream and write and just be inspired. So write an outline, clarify your thoughts, and develop, as I mentioned, maybe more than one idea, no problem. And then you can leave aside the ones that you don't really feel that reflect and highlight the best that you want to show to the university. And then you organize your ideas. Now, after this, you go into the first draft step. What happens there? Basically, you work on the first paragraph where you need to catch the attention of the reader. So there are many different ideas to work on here and on how to grab the attention. It could be something extraordinary or something actually pretty ordinary that you may think. But the idea is how you express it, how you write it. And then this is the beginning, this is the first paragraph that you will go back to at the end of the essay to have closure. Now, try to make it flow, during and you don't need to write about, all the activities and everything. And Átila is going to talk more about that aspect on what really is important to include. So some reminders and advice: start early. Okay, so remember that this is actually a work that you can do throughout the year. It's not something you can work on the weekend previous to sending the essay. So please take the time to organize and take the time to work on this and develop ideas and digest other ones and give it time. And same thing, be aware of the deadlines. And right away.
Great, Claudia. So I'm going to start sharing my screen now. I just need you, I want to confirm that you can see my screen, Claudia.
I actually see a black screen for the moment, but now it goes. Yes.
Yeah.
There it is.
Okay, good.
That's perfect.
Is it full screen? Perfect. Okay,
that's
good.
Perfect.
So, perfect. Thank you so much, Claudia, for introducing us to the idea of writing an essay. As Claudia mentioned, you're going to have to write a few drafts, quite a few drafts of your essay. So here are a few tips of things to watch out for while you're editing your personal essay. This essay is subjective, it's creative, it's a chance for you to express yourself. So it's really important to be careful about the tone that you bring to your writing. Avoid sarcasm. Avoid a story that's too sad and doesn't have a resolution. Avoid melodrama, avoid arrogance. Pay attention to the syntax. This is all about sentence structure. Make sure there's enough variation in the sentences that you use, but make sure to keep them clear and objective. Avoid being overly technical or using too many statistics. Again, the essay is not necessarily the place to prove to your admissions counselor that you are academically accomplished. There are other parts of your application to do that. This is really a chance for the admissions officers and counselors to decide, to learn a little bit more about you and decide how you can contribute to the campus community. Don't use cliches, stay away from them, and also make sure that you vary your vocabulary, avoid repetitions. Let's talk a little bit about some of the parts of the essay. In the introduction, you need to make sure that you draw the reader in immediately. So the introduction really should be a place to tell a little bit of a story, use an anecdote that brings the reader in. Make sure that you start with a vivid description that makes them want to keep reading. It's always good when you're reading something and you are surprised, right? So a tip I have for you is to lead the reader in one direction and then twist, right? To leave them wanting to read more. Hook the reader by sharing an odd or quirky facts about yourself, something that not everyone knows. Maybe make a confession, right? Start with something shocking, start with a shocking image. And end the introduction with a hint of what's to come, right? What are you going to talk about? Things that you should avoid in the introduction of your essay is to be overly grandiose. Again, admissions officers will be able to read about your accomplishments and about your achievements in other areas of your essay. In fact, I would give you the tip as someone who has had to write many of these essays when I was applying to go to school in the United States. Mundane topics make the best essays. Things that other people wouldn't expect that are interesting or enlightening about who you are. Those stories really make great essays. So avoid being overly grandiose. Use quotes that are important for you. Use famous quotes. excuse me, don't do that, right? Don't use famous quotes, don't rely on cliches, and don't spoil the ending of your essay before you get there. Make sure it's an interesting read for your reader throughout. Throughout your essay, you want to make sure that there is a rhythm. So I really want to ask you to read it out loud and ask yourself, are you able to read this essay fluidly? Are there clear connections to the different parts of your essay? Are there clear connections? Is there a clear development to the ideas that you mentioned in your essay? It's really, really important to do that. It's a subjective essay, so it's really up to you how you order the paragraphs in your essay. So you could take the chronological route, right? You could tell stories or put examples in the order in which they happened. You could focus on the values, right? You can mention how you can mention a value in a paragraph and mention how it is important for you and for who you are, and then develop that in the next paragraph, for example. It's also a good idea to refer to the previous paragraph at the start of the next, right? That shows cohesion, that shows connection between the different parts of your essay. In the conclusion, after you have taken the reader on this ride, it's important to look to the future, right? You have used your essay to talk about your values, your beliefs, your experiences. And now, at this point, how will these values, how will these insights serve you later in life? Make sure that there's a connection to the introduction, right? If you start your essay with a dialogue, it might be a good idea to end with some dialogue too. If you start with a vivid description, end with the vivid description as well. Make sure that you link back to the introduction. Refer to something that you mentioned at the start, maybe add some more detail, maybe since you left the reader hooked at the beginning, here's the time for some resolution to that problem that you described at the beginning. It's the time for the review, right? Once you have written quite a few drafts and talked to your EducationUSA advisor about them, it's a good idea to review one last time your final draft before submission and paying attention to these points. Make sure that you have proper grammar, spelling, and vocabulary. We want to make sure that you express yourself well, making good use of the English language. In terms of the content, ask yourself, does the information in this essay actually contribute to the message that I want to send, right? So does each paragraph actually do its job? Within each paragraph, is every sentence actually necessary for that message? And within each sentence, is each word necessary? We really want to make sure, we really want to encourage you to make sure that you use the 650 words you have in the Common App essay, or the shorter word limit that you have in other supplemental essays to express yourself well. Once you're coming close to the end of the process of writing your essay, be aware of how many people's insight you actually get, because too many cooks spoil the pot, right? EducationUSA can give you great tips on how to improve your essay, so it should be your go-to reviewer. So thank you so much for being with us today. We hope that we have shared information that is relevant and that is helpful for you in writing your essay. I want to pass it back to my colleague, Claudia, to end our meeting today.
I just wanted to remind you that you can go to the website, to educationusa.state.gov for more information on how to apply to universities in the US and for contact information for our offices in Chile and Brazil. Thank you very much, Átila, and it was great talking about this topic today, and thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.